So this week I started and immediately stopped watching this new docuseries on Hulu called Clipped, which is like a reenactment, sort of like what they did with Pam and Tommy and the like Elizabeth, Thera, whatever girly. And it's
whatever
on,
girly.
Yeah, you know what I'm talking about.
No, I don't.
The one with
the blood thing.
Elizabeth something. I always want to call her her. I can't ever remember her last name. Elizabeth.
She had the fake story,
Yeah,
or she had the fake company
and she
about
had
the blood
weird
thing.
Voice, black turtleneck. Black, but this
Steve
is not
Jobs.
The point. This is not the point.
Okay. What is the point?
I'm getting to it.
Okay.
So it's like one of
Elizabeth
those
Holmes?
shows. No, not Elizabeth Holmes.
Hurley.
Elizabeth.
Shue?
No, Elizabeth.
McGovern.
Elizabeth Holmes wears a lot of black turtlenecks.
Give me
more
Taylor.
Give me more keywords.
Yeah, it's
Taylor.
Elizabeth
That
Holmes.
is
It
her.
is
That
Holmes.
is her. I thought Elizabeth Holmes was a different celebrity. I always want to call her
Nailed it.
Elizabeth Smart, which is
You're
like
thinking
a
of
girl
Katie
who
Holmes?
was kidnapped.
Montgomery.
Not the
Elizabeth.
same. But you know how they did the show with Amanda Seyfried playing her, and they had the So basically, what I'm doing a really horrible job of explaining is that Hulu made a show like that about the Donald Sterling like voice memos.
Really?
with her.
Doc Rivers.
Yes, and so they put together this. They tried to put together this little like reenactment of it, whatever series, and I got through the first episode, and it took all of 30 seconds for me to be like, what in the world is going on here? It is some of the most insane casting I have ever seen.
Right.
We're gonna pull up some pictures. This is a clipped Steph Curry.
Come on.
No way.
That's Dak Prescott.
Yeah, that's 100% Dak Prescott.
For our audio,
Wait, is Dak playing Steph Curry?
That'd be elite.
Tony Parker.
For our audio audience, this is going to be really tough to explain, but just whenever you think Steph Curry, who doesn't look like Steph Curry, and then that's this guy.
Just picture Dak Prescott.
Yeah, picture Dak Prescott. I'd like to get the Blake Griffin guy up there next. This is Blake Griffin. That's
not Blake Griffin.
That's
There's no
Adnan
way.
Burke.
literally. He doesn't look anything like Blake Griffin.
Lucy, that can't be Blake Griffin.
No, that's
Yeah.
Blake
That's
Griffin.
you called up the wrong person.
No,
There's
that's,
no way.
Can we get another photo of Blake Griffin in this show? Because throughout the first episode, which by the way is bad, it's not a good TV show. I kept having to look up the cast because I said I don't know who that is. I don't know. That's Chris Paul. That can't be Chris Paul. And Lawrence Fishburne is playing Doc Rivers. And so, like, you
What?
can kind of see, like, they kind of look alike, but a means Doc Rivers sounds more like Doc Rivers than Lawrence Fishburne. You're sitting there and it's impossible.
Is he trying to get it? Is he going down into like the?
No, not even a little
just
bit.
talking
He's
like
just using his
Fishburne?
regular voice. This is Blake Griffin.
What?
No, it's not.
They are trying to tell
Well, it's
you.
actually not.
this is
It's
a-
just not.
They got the hair there.
Like it's no.
Little
And-
freckles on the cheek.
No.
They didn't really get many tall people to play the basketball players too. I'm like, I know he's not like that guy's 5'11", okay? He's not in the NBA. You have to quit like lying.
Right.
If we can get JJ Redick up, for JJ Redick, they said the casting call was just let's get a white guy. We'll just take whatever white guy walks through the door and we will call him JJ Redick. And it made it impossible to watch the show because the whole time you're like that you didn't even try. You didn't even try to make these like actors look like the players they're representing. It's crazy. And the show is just straight up bad. The like guy in Modern Family who's
Ed O'Neill.
married to Sofia Vergara.
That's not a bad. He kind of the way they've made him up.
He looks enough like him, but he's likable. And you're like, so it's weird that he's playing
yeah.
like Donald Sterling. And then the woman who's playing like Vivian, the lady
V.
who like,
Stiviano.
yeah, that released the tapes. She looks like her, but all I can remember from when that's JJ Redick.
That's JJ Redick.
Just a white guy. They just
Wait.
said, just give us a white guy.
That is the actor playing JJ Redick?
Yes.
But JJ Redick has to be thrilled with that, no?
He loves
Yeah.
it. It's
Looking
the
good.
opposite
Yes.
of Blake Griffin. Blake Griffin's pissed. JJ Redick's excited.
I literally was like, who is that? I had no idea. The whole time I had the Clippers roster pulled up, being like, I don't know who these people are. I have no idea who they're trying to pretend to be. And so they have a woman playing Vivian who, like, all I can remember from this, and this happened, what, like 10, 15 years ago? And, like, it's pretty still, like, most people know what happened in the recent memory. All I can remember is when she gave the interview to Barbara Walters.
Yes.
And she was like, what was your relationship with Mr. Sterling? And she was like, I was his right-hand arm man.
It's what?
And, yeah, his right-hand arm man.
His
and
what?
His silly rabbit.
rabbits.
No, it's one of the greatest pieces of sound we have ever played on this show. Hold on,
so
Lucy.
good.
I'm just going to hit pause for a second because I want to play that clip.
Can you tell me what your relationship with Donald Sterling is?
I'm Mr. Sterling's right-hand arm, man. I'm Mr. Sterling everything. I'm his confidant, his best friend, his silly rabbit.
His what?
His silly rabbit.
His silly rabbit?
Yes.
Is that what he calls you?
No, I call myself.
I see.
But
Okay.
in the doc, in
That's
the
why
little-
Barbara's the best to
Yeah.
ever do it, by the way.
In the series, he calls like they have him calling her his silly rabbit. Like there's like a piece of dialogue.
His what?
The woman playing her doesn't sound anything like that. That's Chris Paul.
Oh
Come
my
on.
God.
His what?
I had no idea who that was.
They
It
couldn't have
took-
gotten Cliff Paul.
Literally, the only reason I knew that was Chris Paul is because they made some remark or they had fake Doc Rivers be like, this isn't a State Farm commercial. And I was like, oh my God, that's Chris Paul.
His what?
It is maybe the most poorly
Whatever.
cast show I've ever seen. And it's straight up bad. Like it's bad TV.
Right. Chris, what happened there?
I clicked the wrong clip, and I have me screaming for my daughter all of a sudden.
How do we feel about Doc Rivers?
Oh my God. That's not bad though.
That's not bad.
Of all the
Best thing
castings,
they've done.
of all the castings, it's one of the better ones.
But the voice, he didn't really even try to get the Doc voice. And so the whole thing is just who okayed this?
His what?
And this happened recently enough, and most of these players are still active in the league or active in media. So you can't get away with doing a bad casting job because we all still know what Blake Griffin looks like.
I think that's the big issue, right? Winning Time, people had issues with some of the casting there, but at least everybody in Winning Time has aged so much that you're not actively thinking about what they look like at that age all the time. Where right now, Blake Griffin still looks like Blake Griffin. Chris Paul still looks like Chris Paul. JJ Redick still looks like JJ Redick. So to have these random actors playing them that don't look anything like
They
them is
look
so confusing.
nothing like them.
But to a point, though, Jeremy, when you look at Magic, when you look at Kareem, when you look at all the guys in Winning Time, you started watching and being like, oh, wait a second. No, I can kind of see it. There's no kind of seeing anything in clip. It's I don't know what this is. Like a bad dream. You know when you have a dream,
You're never going to see it?
You can't really focus in on the guy. I know this guy. I just don't know where I know him from. He doesn't look like himself. That's what this is.
such
Just
a
a
good
bad
take.
dream of Clippers.
His what?
I so badly want a movie about that team, but I want it to be good.
They're canceling this for sure.
No, it's not. I think it's going to be a short series. I made it through the first episode, and straight up, even taking the casting aside, which is really hard to do, it's not good. It's just not good. The writing's not good. Their weird transition or Instagram scrolls, it just doesn't make sense. And then you're you don't even look like these people. I can't believe you're acting, and I can't believe what you look like. And it's the whole this has just happened too recently, where this is a better documentary than it is recreating it in a little biopic type of deal. It's so bad.
Me and Greg are laughing at Blake Griffin.
So bad.
And Jeremy makes a great point. He's actually a good actor.
Yeah, Blake Griffin's funny. He's a good actor.
He could have played
He's been
Blake
in all
Griffin.
sorts of TV shows. He should have just played himself.
That
He's not
looks-
playing basketball anymore.
Right.
That looks like Eric Griffin, the comedian, not Blake Griffin.
I would have never guessed if you had shown me this actor's picture before watching clips and said, what NBA player is this guy representing? I would have no clue.
I mean, eventually you would say Blake Griffin because you're at it you're
you
towards
would-
the end of all the NBA
Yeah.
players who have ever played. Right.
It was just I don't know how all of it got okayed because the casting just continued to be so just I can't believe you're Chris Paul. You can make your State Farm jokes as much as you want, but I know that's not Chris Paul. And then the guy who's playing DeAndre Jordan is probably the best cast out of them, but he's short.
Right.
And you're I know you're not in the NBA. You're not tall.
DeAndre was 7 feet tall.
Yeah, they have him at they got a 5'10" guy playing him, and you're And it was the closest like casting in the sense of like looking like the person they're supposed to play.
I would say JJ got a major upgrade. He's a good-looking guy, JJ, but he got an upgrade there. I would say Chris Paul even got an upgrade there, just in terms of who played him, in terms of he's a better-looking version of Chris Paul.
If I were Blake Griffin,
Still doesn't have a ring, but he's a better-looking version of Chris Paul.
Downgrade for Blake, for sure,
Yeah,
though.
I would
Downgrade
still.
for Blake, yes.
That's not it's just so bad. And so I won't be watching the second episode. I just couldn't do it.
Yeah, we got that impression.
The content isn't good.
You don't say, huh?
Is this a case of still active agents working for Chris Paul and JJ Redick lobbying to get them better looking actors while Blake Griffin's agent really isn't doing much at this point because he's not playing anymore, and so in turn the lobbying for a more handsome actor
You have
just
all these
doesn't really
guys
happen.
having the approval. Like Chris Paul has to approve over his actor.
I mean, not necessarily approve, just like a wink wink nudge nudge. Hey, come on. Help me out a little bit. No?
You think they're going to the actual guys and saying, are you okay with them playing you?
No, I don't think that they're going to them.
Because if
but
that
I
was
think
the
when you
case and
find
they
out,
said yes to this.
But I think when you find out that there's going to be a show made about you, if you have a very good agent, you're not going to send that agent over to these directors and producers and just have them just kind of lay some groundwork for you, lay the table, if you will, on, hey, I'd like a more handsome actor to play me.
Well,
kind
I
of
would.
get people in their memories thinking of me as a handsome guy.
I would too, Greg. I'm with you. But I think that's what Chris Paul did and JJ Redick.
Right.
The only one who didn't do it was Blake.
That's my
I
point.
mean,
Yes,
Redick
I
won.
get it. Hey, full circle.
Come back around.
You feel better?
Yeah, I do.
Good news for them is it's so bad no one's going to watch.
Did you make it through the entire first episode?
I watched the first episode,
Okay.
and it was one of those things where I just really didn't have anything to talk about on the show. So I was like, oh, I really have to bring something for the next day. So I prepared, and I was like, this wasn't worth it. I'd rather just be bad at my job.
Thank you for your sacrifice.
Barbara Walter. Who's better than her, Greg? Seriously.
No, nobody.
I mean, can you give me a list of people better than Barbara Walter?
Absolutely not.
Top 5 Barbaras?